What's up, traders? So this is going to be another recap of Chinese stocks for Saturday. I'm going to look at several Chinese stocks that you guys are wanting to be covered. So I'm going to do it again. So let's take a look at JD first on the daily chart. Then we'll take a quick look on the weekly chart. So I'm going to try to, fly by these stocks real quick. So basically, JD is not looking as strong as other Chinese stocks. You can see that we're still trading near the lows of this downtrend, right around the low 30s, mid 30s. We're still below the EMA on the daily chart. So unless JD can come back inside of the range, which we are, and stay inside of it, we're probably going to be seeing lower prices, maybe back down to the 28. However, if we can break this EMA and, show a reversal sign, I'll be looking for the $40 level, because that is the next key level that JD would have to face. So that's how I'm looking at JD. Maybe the support could be a little bit lower right about here. Or I could leave it a little bit higher, but either way, we're kind of, on the edge of just still breaking down lower. So we'll have to wait and see what JD wants to do at the end of the day. Now here's the weekly chart. Overall, JD is not as strong as other Chinese stocks regardless, because price is still within this downtrend. You can see that we have nice 3 touches on the top, 3 touches or 4 touches even on the bottom. We're still below the EMA on the weekly chart. So right now, even if we do see a bounce, it would just be short term, just for price to maybe reach the $40 level and maybe the trend line right over here at the 47. But I'll be expecting, resistance at those price levels, even if price can get up there. But either way, JD is not looking as strong as other Chinese stocks. It would need to do a massive reversal for me to be bullish. Now, let's take a look at the next stock for today, which is going to be Baidu. So here is the daily chart for Baidu. And Baidu looking much more bullish. You can see the difference right away. Baidu isn't really downtrending like JD. You can see that we've been range bound, and price is not even able to reach the bottom side of the range. So that shows a bullish imbalance, meaning, the buyers are not letting the sellers complete the pattern lower. So we did break this trend line, but that's not a big deal. I can go ahead and remove that. And the measurement target looks to be not reached at the 112. I got it from right over here. This was one leg down. Bears try to make a second leg down, reaching the 112. It looks like it's failing because we're seeing a V bottom reversal, and price is just climbing out of there. So this looks pretty good. I'm not guaranteeing anything. We can always still go down lower, but this looks pretty good. It looks like we're going to be targeting the 156 level again. And if we do pull back, let's see if we can bounce off of the EMA for higher prices. Price would need to break through it for this target to come back into play. But right now, is looking pretty good for the upside. And also, this is the second attempt higher to reach this measure move right over here. So you can see that the bulls made one leg up. That's what this arrow represents. This is the first attempt by the bulls to reach this target, and we're seeing the second attempt. So the market generally moves in twos. So we're seeing the first attempt by the bulls. We just saw the first attempt. Now we're seeing the second attempt to reach the measure move target at the $200 level. So let's see if Baidu can break through this resistance point at the 155, 156. Because it's been getting rejected from there like almost a dozen times. So let's take a look at the weekly chart. And, we're clearly in a range pattern for about more than a year now. It looks bullish because price is not able to go down to the lows of the range. And we're still above the EMA on the weekly chart. So it's looking like a retest of the 156 is going to be likely. Not guaranteed, but that's what it's looking like to me. And we'll see if we can break it or not. Now let's take a look at the next stock for today, which is going to be Tencent. So let's take a look at the daily chart first. And here we have the daily chart for Tencent. Tencent is, slightly downtrending. It's not really that strong. So you can see that price is trying to reach this measure move target lower because I can combine these 2 legs down to make one large leg. And then there was a correction in between. The bulls really weren't that strong. They were getting rejected from this trend line right over here. So they would need to break this trend line. And, then they'll be able to reach the opposite side of the yellow range at the 381 level. Right now, it's not really looking that good for Tencent versus other Chinese stocks. We're kind of struggling to get above this EMA. So it might be coming down to retest the 310 level right over here. So that would be the next target because we're still within the trend line. We're still below the EMA. The measure move target hasn't been reached. So right now, I'm seeing more bearish signs than bullish for Tencent. Now, let's take a look at the weekly chart. And weekly chart shows that we had a massive downtrend in the past. The bears are trying to make a new low of the downtrend. So that's why they're trying to come back down to the 189, 190 level. We'll see if they can get there or not. But right now, overall, price is still, kind of trading sideways for the most part. It's not really that bearish. So that's a good sign overall, but in the short term, it is looking bearish. In the long term, meaning the macro structure, is just practically just trading sideways. Now let's take a look at the next stock for today, which is going to be TME. So here's TME. I know TME is a very popular Chinese stock as well. So obviously this is a huge, weak downtrend. It's been downtrending not that strong for quite a long time. So maybe we finally break outside of this green channel resistance point that this circle represents right over here. It looks like bulls are trying to get up there. Since we hit the one side of the channel, price is trying to reach the opposite side. That's trend rules or channel rules. This was the impulse up right over here that this arrow represents. Price pulled back. This is the second impulse targeting the 752 level. So right now it is on its way, and I can put this trend line right over here to represent the bullish momentum. So as long as price is within this trend line, meaning above it, and we're still above the 682 because it was prior support. Since we're back above it, there's a good chance it can maintain support. I think there's a good shot to reach the 752, and we're still above the EMA. So there's a couple good signs, or bullish signs that I'm seeing, at least in the short term. I don't know what's going to happen once we get up here. Maybe we still go down lower. Maybe we break it to reach the 831. No one knows for sure because it's definitely going to be not 100% sure, but it's most likely going to be acting as some sort of resistance at these higher price levels. We don't just break it cleanly all the time. A lot of times it will act as temporary resistance. But either way, I'm looking for higher prices. This is looking at least bullish in the short term. And unless we break down the 685 and this EMA and this trend line, I'll be looking for higher prices. If we do break down, I'll be looking for the 625. That was some support right there, and then maybe even back down to the low at the 570. Now let's take a look at the weekly. Weekly chart shows that we have 3 consecutive green weeks in a row, and it's looking like price was definitely overextended. Now we're seeing prices rocket up, so there's a good chance for continuation, maybe even finally a break of this green channel for another large leg up. Something like that can definitely happen. It's looking like it could happen. I don't know for sure, but we'll see how it develops. Now let's take a look at the next chart for today, which is Huya. So Huya, let me go ahead and zoom in. So here's a chart for Huya, and you can see that we're kind of following the drawings that I had. I had 2 drawings or 2 situations that can play out. If we do the bullish sign or the bullish scenario, meaning we break the trend line, we break the 293 level and get back above it and find support, I think prices can rocket out much higher, something like that over the long term. However, if we come back to this trend line, we get rejected from the 293 level, then price is still working its way down to the measure move target at the 65 cents level. So it depends on who you wants to do at the end of the day. Obviously it's leaning more towards the downside since we're not even above the 290 level. But if we see a huge move for Chinese stocks, I think Huya can do the bullish situation. Now let's take a look at the weekly chart. More or less of the same thing. We're still below the EMA on the weekly chart. We got a little overextended, so that's why we're seeing a pullback. But again, it's not looking that good until we can see price get above the EMA and start rocketing out higher. Now there was a couple other recommendations. The first one, Invesco China Technology ETF CQQs. So let's go and add that to the roster for the Chinese Smackdown or Chinese Showdown for Saturdays. So here's CQQQ. Again, more bullish than other Chinese stocks, where we are back inside this yellow range, back above this $38 support level. And it looks like the bears are having a hard time making another large leg down, because I got this leg down from right here in the past, and we can make another large leg down since this high right here is lower than the previous one. And you see that the bears are having a hard time reaching that target. So that means the bulls can come in and trap the bears to the upside. So I think if we continue to see higher prices, the next target will be the 43.82 and then maybe the 51. This is looking pretty good for the upside. We are above the EMA, and if we do pull back, let's see if the $38, $39 level can act as support for higher prices. If not, then the target is still in play to the downside at the 28. Now here's the weekly chart. Weekly chart shows that obviously we had a massive downtrend in the past, but now we're basically just going sideways, like Baidu and Alibaba, a bunch of other Chinese stocks. So maybe the bear market will end maybe sometime this year, or early next year. We'll have to wait and see. But this is actually better than, you know, not being in a downtrend. So maybe now we'll see a reversal. We are bouncing off the 2018 lows. That's where the support is in the past and is acting as support again. We just need to get back above the EMA on the weekly chart, get it back above the 43.88, and then I think there's a clear shot to the $50 level. Now let's take a look at the last stock for today, or ETF, KWeb, Crane Shares Trust, China Internet, very similar, I bet. Maybe just a different, maybe some stocks are slightly different in the ETFs. So this one, you know, looking even more bullish. You can see that price is rocketing up higher in this slim orange uptrend channel, and we're above the EMA. So there's some good signs on the daily chart. Overall, price has been inside of this yellow range since about May of last year. And, you know, finally, we might be seeing another move up or attempt to reach the $34 level, because you can see that the bulls made one strong move up, and then we saw two legs down. This is one leg down, second leg down. Once the target was nearly met, that's when the next leg up can form. And you can see that the bulls tried once, twice, and they failed. But then price saw a nice bounce off the 26.62 as a save. And then we saw price rocket up, you know, in the near term. So it could be coming up to this high at the 31.93 and then targeting the 34.22. So everything's looking pretty good for KWeb. We'll see how it develops, though. Things can always change. We have 2 consecutive green weeks in a row. And this is looking pretty good for the upside. So we'll see how it develops. And that's all I have for KWeb. Actually, you can see that these 2 legs down would technically be 1 leg now, right over here. And maybe we do start a couple attempts down. So right here could be another a bearish move, but we did see a strong rejection off the 26.62, so it might invalidate this downward measure move target. We'll see. If we just stop right now and reverse strongly, then you already know that this target is probably still in play. So I'll leave it on the chart for now, just, you know, to keep it there. But if we can break past that high at the 31.96, then, you know, there's a clear shot to the $34 level. So that's all I have for all these Chinese stocks and ETFs, and I'll probably give you guys an update next week, Saturday. This is Vee Trades, and thank you for your time.